Christmas dinner, Dad announced. You're a burden and you can't live with us anymore. The next day, when I packed my things, and told them I was stopping payment on the bills, Dad. Christmas dinner was almost over when my father put down his fork, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "You are a burden and you can no longer live with us." At first, I thought I had misheard him. My mom let out this weird, nervous laugh, like she wasn't sure he meant it. But then he just sat there, staring at me, waiting for a reaction. The room fell silent. My younger sister, Lily, froze with her fork halfway to her mouth. She looked at me wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe what she had just heard. I swallowed the piece of ham I was chewing and put my fork down. "What, you heard me," he said. "You've overstayed your welcome, you need to move out." I just sat there, trying to process. I was 23, had a steady job, and could have moved out a long time ago, but I stayed because they needed me. I paid the electric bill, the internet, groceries most weeks, things they couldn't afford because my dad had been unemployed for years, and my mom only worked part-time. I wasn't a burden, I was the reason the lights were still on in that house. And now, out of nowhere, I was being kicked out like some useless freeloader. Mom finally spoke up. "Maybe we should talk about this later." But Dad interrupted. "No, Ed, this is my house, I make the rules, and I say he's done here." Lily put down her fork. She was only 16, and I could tell she was scared. She stared at our parents like she didn't even recognize them. If they could throw me out so easily, what did that mean for her? I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to argue or beg. If they wanted me out, fine, but they weren't ready for what that really meant. I leaned back in my chair. "All right," I said. My dad sat up straighter, like he'd won some imaginary battle. My mom still looked uncomfortable. But she didn't say anything. Maybe she was in shock, or maybe she just didn't care as much as I thought she would. I stood up, grabbed my plate, and carried it to the sink. I didn't want to give them the reaction they wanted. Instead, I looked at Lily, who was still sitting there, tense and confused. I gave her a small nod. She was the only one at this table I still cared about. Dad took a sip of his drink, as if nothing had happened. Mom went back to picking at her mashed potatoes. Lily kept looking at me as if she wanted to say something, but she didn't. I didn't stay to finish dinner, I just walked out. I didn't say another word that night. I went straight to my room, closed the door, and started packing. I wasn't going to waste my time trying to understand why they were doing this. If they wanted me gone, then I was gone, but that also meant they would lose everything I had paid for, and I wasn't going to warn them. I packed in silence, but I could hear them talking downstairs. My mom's voice was low and scared. My dad's was firm, like he was trying to convince her of something. I caught bits and pieces. "He's old enough, we can handle it, he should have moved out years ago." An hour later, Lily knocked on my door. I opened it, and she slipped in, closing it behind her. She looked upset, her eyes were red, as if she'd been crying. "What the hell was that?" she whispered. "I don't know," I said, stuffing my laptop into my bag. "But I'm leaving tomorrow." She shook her head. "That's crazy, you pay for everything, they can't even afford food without you." "Not my problem anymore," I said. She bit her lip, obviously trying to hold back more tears. "Where are you going?" "I'll figure it out," I replied. The truth was, I had some money saved up, but I hadn't planned on moving out so suddenly. I'd have to find a place fast, maybe stay with a friend for a while, but I wasn't worried, I'd be fine. They wouldn't. Lily hesitated.